Hello and welcome to Late Night Creatures, the only late night variety show. It's a drawing show. I'm not sure if variety is the right word. Anywho, keeping with our wintry theme, today I'm going to be drawing two of my favorite holiday icons. They're from an extremely underrated claymation Christmas movie called The Year Without a Santa Claus. It's a very good film. I highly recommend it to anyone who would like to watch it ever. It's basically about Santa deciding not to do Christmas anymore because none of the kids are good. And as you can see, I'm sort of roughing in some something. So I'm drawing two characters in that called the Heat Miser and the Freeze Miser. Their whole deal was essentially that they controlled the aspects of cold and hot temperatures. And so I'm going to draw them in a kind of, I guess horrific might be the right word, style. Sort of make them into some late night creatures. Now, I probably should have pulled up reference so people could see what they looked like, but I didn't think about that. And so, while I'd like to do it now, I'm not entirely sure the best way to go about that. So, I will do my very best to figure that out later. I'm not sure. I'll draw first and then try stuff later. That sound good with everyone? So I'll start off with. Never mind. Hold on. Give me a sec. While I will talk to you while we're doing this. While I look up reference because I was ill prepared. Awesome. Here we go. And then okay, there we go. We got them. We got them. They're here. That was a lot easier. I should have just done that, but I didn't. Because I was gonna just not, but then I realized, wait, idiot, you need reference too, because you can't remember exactly what they look like. So these are just their faces, so I'm kind of just gonna do what I want with the body. I think I can extrapolate what their bodies look like from this. So if you don't know, these are who we're dealing with. So I'll start off on this side with the Heat Miser. He's sort of a, I guess the right term would be Danny DeVito-esque little fireman. So I'm just gonna have him here, having a grand old time. One of the things with them was they're always fighting each other because they each want to be sort of in control of the weather at Christmas time. And so that's basically what I'm going for here by doing this little jagged versus line. So they're fighting. I don't know why I drew that on. That was a dumb thing I just did. See, this is the problem with stuff like this, is that now all of my layers are weird, but I fixed it. We're on the right track now. So I think I'm just gonna have him sort of doing a nice yell at his brother. I think they were really the original Mario and Luigi. I mean, their body shapes kind of fit. So I'm gonna have him here yelling at his brother. So let's see. So he has this big red nose. So I think I'm gonna sort of just try and going with that, but make it a bit more distorted. That's good. That looks like a gross, disgusting boil, which is exactly the look I'm going for. Oh, that's nice, actually. Maybe give it a bit of a... It's not a boil, it's just burnt. Try and give it a bit of a burnt texture there. So now we move that up, and that connects there. And I think I want to just make the mouth sort of go all the way up into the nose. I think that's a nice little touch here to do that. There we go. Awesome. So we have a Heat Miser there, screaming, as you do. Tis the season to scream. Tis the screams and listen. I'm doing my best. Uh, there we go. He has sort of a wider mouth, and so I'm just gonna try and bring this mouth out and do a bit of a smile kind of deal. Going for a nice Joker extension. Now I have to figure out what to do with his other side because I'm not sure how to make that sort of. If I bring that like that and bring them out here, that kinda works. I need to mess with this a bit. It's time for messing with stuff because I realized I didn't think about perspective. Ah, dang, that's not far out enough. But that is what I need to do. So take it back a bit more, back to where I originally erased. Take this out farther to about the middle for both sides there. There we go. And then we can bring the other cheek around, which is probably what I should have started off doing. Because if we bring the other cheek around, then we have no need for that line anymore. And we can just bring that there we are. That's the perspective I was looking for right there. Make sure he has a nice, gross, awful tongue. There we are. Fill in there. Good. This is what we were looking for. It's exactly what I was hoping for. So I might need to move them. Probably need to move them there. So I'll move them over. So I also need so let's move up to the eyes now. So he has these sort of nice furrowed brow type deal. So I'm just gonna try and exaggerate that a bit. There we go. So his head kind of comes from there. Okay. I want to bring these out even more. So they're nice and kind of clown-like because they're clowning around. Yeah, that's a good look. It's a good look. I'll make these eyes nice and dark here. And then I think maybe bring that or that. That's a good. He looks a bit like a dog. Kinda in the eyes. I'm getting some dog, but that's all right. This will help. He looks like someone, but I can't place who, so I'm just gonna keep drawing. Okay, bring that. Oh, I forgot to do teeth. Forgot to do some teeth. That's. Oh, dang it! I did it again. I did it again, guys. I put it on the wrong layer once again. Whoops. Okay. There we go. Back to normal. Let's see. So I kind of wanted to fit the teeth underneath the nose here. So let me clear out a space for them. I shouldn't have filled. I forgot that people and monsters typically have two sets of teeth. And I would just give them one and say, well, you know, it's a monster, so it can have only one set of teeth. But I thought this would look good, and so I'm gonna bring in the teeth here. Make it nice and heavily gummed, of course, because that's really I think it's a staple of making something look gross. Some nice gingivitis gums. There we go. Yes, I'm very glad that we took the time to do that. Now we can move on to this awful fiery hair. Once I decide what I want to do, I think I should make these eyes full rings. I think that's a good step to take. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what where we're taking this. I still want to keep that claymation cartoony vibe to it and not sort of push it to the point of something that would be super difficult to do in claymation. So I think we do want to keep that. So now I think this can become sort of ripply because he has like fire hair, but it's sort of just not actually fire. But in ours, I'm thinking we just make it actually fire. Don't worry, this isn't the actual fire. This is something different. This is called a burnt, awful, exploded head. And that's where fire hair comes out of, is burnt, awful, burnt, exploded heads. And so, add in some of those burn marks that we used earlier. And then we got to make this nice. I'm not super good at drawing fire, but I'm not super awful. So, but I do need to start over because it's not doing what I wanted to do. Trying to figure out how to do this. I don't think I've ever drawn a fire like I'm trying to draw right now. That wasn't sharp enough. Dang it. That was all one line. Guys, I'm having some trouble with this fire, which is a problem. I mean, usually when I say I don't draw something that often or I'm not too good, I end up doing an all right job on it. But this is not one of those cases. There we go. That's all right, I guess. Got to clean up some of those lines just so that, you know, it looks a bit more like fire and less jagged. That was really the big one. Okay, and now I can bring in that sort of inner fire. There we go. So once you got the outline of the fire, it kind of gets a bit easier to go from there. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So then he has sort of this Kermit the Frog type collar. Bring it all the way around town. That's his body. And he has his little arms. We're going to make them a little smaller than they usually are. Just give it that extra, oh, okay, he's gross factor. You know, that classic factor that all artists know about. Give him a little, I'm giving him Pokemon hands. But that's all right. And then he's going to be shooting a little fire at his brother. Yeah, they were brothers, and then Mother Nature was like just their mom. And there's this really funny scene where I think she like hits them, she beats them for being idiots. It's a good movie. Again, Year Without a Santa Claus. It's top notch cinema. I highly recommend it. Okay, boink. There we go. All right, there we go. And I forget what his legs look like, so we're just gonna do some nice sort of also squat legs there. So it sort of matches with his whole bodily aesthetic. I think he's just sort of wearing a jumpsuit. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be. So I think I'm just gonna not even separate anything. He's just wearing a big old onesie. Awesome. Here he is. Almost. Here he almost is, because I'm still drawing while I'm saying that the drawing's finished. Because, you know, that's what artists do. They're like, hey, we're done. And then, no, surprise. We tricked you. We were not, in fact, done. There he is. Heat Miser. He is all head. I did not put a lot of focus in that body, but that's a-okay. So now I'm moving this reference again, and this time I'm not going to draw on the wrong layer. And I didn't, because I switched. I'm making sure I'm on the right layer. Now, Freeze Miser is a little sharper which means he's probably going to be a little easier to characterize, I guess. Caricaturize. I'm going to start with, I'm going to go a nose first route. To just give him his nice long plague doctor awful nose. Make sure he always has icicles dripping off of it, so make sure we get those in there. And usually they drip out of your nostrils. Well, he has multiple nostrils. He's just covered in nostrils underneath there. That's a fun fact that no one knows. So that almost looks like a face by itself, but it is in fact not, because he has sort of these sad eyes. They aren't too sad. They're kind of like Ted Cruz eyes, where like he always looks kind of sad, but you know. And so I'm gonna just give him those and just make them nice and weak. I think he's out of the two, he's definitely the weaker of the two brothers. He's a lot less wrathful than Heat Miser, and I guess that sort of just goes with their temperature. He's the cool one and he's the hot one. It all makes sense. It's still funny though. It's a very good dynamic. You don't see them interact enough in the movie. I'd like to see a movie that's just them. I'm gonna connect that mouth directly to the nose. He has big cheeks, so I can actually do that. And then I can bring that long chin he has nice all the way down here. And there we go. So now it's time to add teeth. And because he's Freeze Miser, I think his teeth should be in the vein of being icicles, you know, which is gonna be awful and scary. So let's go. Let's do it. Here we go. Just roughing in those same type of icicle shapes that I did for his nose, but in a slightly different position, a bit farther back. Bring it around there. Gotta make sure they're all sharp points, just for aesthetic reasons. There we go. Wonderful. This is what we call something. I don't know what I would actually call that, is when you take that line out farther. It might not be called anything. It might just be called drawing. When you take a line that's a point and you bring it out farther to sharpen the point. I'm sure there's a name to that technique. And if not, then I'll name it later. But I'd rather just hold off on naming it until I know for sure that there's not already a name for it. You know? I don't want to step on any toes. Because if you step on toes, someone's shoes always get scuffed. That's a bad expression. No one should ever use it, especially not you, viewing audience. Don't ever use that expression. It's not a, yeah, look at him go. I'm going to try and give him a nice tongue here. I'm just going to do a tongue sort of like one of those classic segmented icicles, you know, where it froze just the right way to where it kind of looks like a carrot. Just a bit. Yeah. That's what we call in the business a tongue. Kind of looks like a poop, but that's alright. That's actually completely fine with me. I'm going to bring this out more too. Alright. Now he has a hat in this. I don't know if he always has that hat, but I'm going to leave that hat on him. There we go. Make sure that's nice and flat. Nothing in the way there. His head's going to have to go far back to fit that hat. But that's fine, actually. I can do that because this is my drawing and I can quite literally do whatever I want. That's the fun part about drawing stuff, is you're not bound to any rules but your own. Or any standards but your own. We know about that on this show. Boy, howdy. Yeah, I think I'm just going to do one of those heads. They're both just large, very large heads. Both of them. Just gonna bring in that there. I actually drew the teeth before I filled this time. Everyone clap and be merry. Cause you know, I did it. I did it, Santa. There. I don't know what to do. I want to make these eyes look a bit scarier. They kind of just look sad right now. So I'm gonna try and wrinkle them up a bit. Maybe add in some stuff. And I think I want to give him like a gross kind of snake ear back here. A just hole. Yeah. Exaggerate this a bit. Good bit. Uh-huh. There we go. Now he looks cold. And he wears a scarf, so let me get that scarf there. And it'll come around. And there we are. And it has stripes, so we'll give it the stripes. There we are. Good. This is going all right. So, then we'll add a nice neck. I think maybe for him we're going to sort of depart from the usual body shape and go for a nice, just so I don't have to really bother with going around that head too much is the main reason, but also because it'll look extra freaky. And long necks are scary. I don't care like who you are. I think there's a primal human fear. At least I have it. Just abnormally long necks. They're kind of freaky. I mean, some people can make them work. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who have long necks but are considered extremely wonderful people and are probably excruciatingly attractive and what have you. But on creatures and monsters and some people, they're a bit gruesome. I think it's maybe just because of the implication, you know, because people have stretched their necks out in history and whatnot for a long time. It's a practice in a lot of cultures, because it's seen as more regal, but only to a point. Don't ever stretch your neck out on purpose. It's not smart. I mean, unless you're really serious about it and know how to do it safely. I don't know how I got on this topic. Um, that's fun. Tangents are fun. Awesome. So now I'm gonna say goodbye to our reference because yeah, I'm done with him. I'm done with him. So now it's time to shade. I'm gonna go for the simpler sort of shading deal here for a bit of a. I'm just gonna try and fill in the fire with red quickly, a bit haphazardly, so maybe it looks a little wispier and more flamey. But we'll see how that goes. I'm sure it's fine. I just have a lot to shade, and so we're going full force. There we are. So we have the fire done. Now we go through. I want to shade all of my edges here. Bam. Saying bam a lot. That's what I do whenever I feel like I've done well on a drawing or a part of a drawing. I always go bam. Don't know why. It's a primal instinct. Or I might have watched that one chef who does it too much. Although I don't think I've actually ever seen a cooking show with that chef. It makes me wonder if he's actually famous, but I'm sure he is. I mean, he wouldn't, I mean, I know about him, so he's clearly famous in some regard. It's Emerald something. I don't remember his name. I think Emerald is part of it, but I don't remember if that's the last name or the first name or what it was. It could honestly be anything. I don't know what I'm talking about a lot of the time. If you haven't noticed from watching this show, a lot of times I'm not entirely 100% sure what I'm talking about. Not often. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on my mental gymnastics that my brain does a lot of the time. Not always. Just like I did the fire, I'll color in the icicles for fun. For fuller fun. I'm just gonna say fun. Just for fun, I'll color in the icicles. Ah. Not sure which one I like more. I like Heat Miser a lot. I do like Heat Miser. It's a good, I think that's a good rendition. But I don't know. Boy, that was a bad shade. I should have zoomed in more for that. I like to think I set myself apart from other artists on YouTube, and that a lot of the times, I zoom around a lot and mess up. Oh my gosh. I will say, this is an odd tangent, but as an artist, watching people who are really good at art can either be really inspiring or really discouraging. It depends. For example, I've watched and started watching Bob Ross recently, and watching Bob Ross makes you feel extremely inadequate. It's an interesting thing, but that's all right. Well, here we are. Just real quick, I'm gonna do some more fun stuff for fun. There we go. I am trying to keep it a bit lighter there. Not going crazy, mind you. I'm just trying to have some fun. There we are, and then his background there, we can make a nice. We'll shoot for a yellow. Yeah, for him we'll shoot for a purplish. There we go. That's a nice. That's a nice time. It's a nice fun time. All right, cool. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I was gonna do this a drawing like this, and I may go back and do a different one, but I was going to do this drawing just alone, but then I was like, this would be a fun late night creatures. It's a good movie, and I can gush about how good the movie is at length without being bogged down by the text limits of Twitter or Instagram or wherever. So I think we're done. I think we're done for the night. Thank you all for coming. I wish you the best of nights and the sweetest of dreams. I hope no late night creatures visit you, because that would be a bit scary, wouldn't it? Anywho, I hope you all have a nice night. Thank you for joining me. And I'll see you next week, whenever it happens. All right. Bye.